that the learning principles in after school and summer really get at the core of learning for students really starting in early childhood, going through the university.
The fundamental problem with what we're doing now in too many schools is we're emphasizing a form of learning that's way too passive, that is too test-driven, and that results in many children being bored and disengaged. And what we really need to transform and focus on is how to get students more motivated and more invested in learning.
So what we're really looking for within our after-school programs is providing young people with a chance to ask questions, to look at materials in a new way, to innovate, and to discover. I think that the first one of those principles is that young people need an opportunity to be active, and that learning occurs when young people are active.
One of the problems that most educators acknowledge is that in the classroom now, kids just don't have enough time to do science the way we think it should be done. In other words, with their hands being messy and their minds being engaged and asking questions and trying things out, but with the limitations in classes now with the kinds of class size, lack of supplies, the lack of time, and the focus on standardized exams, I think it's really incumbent on the after-school and out-of-school environments to provide that hands-on science engagement that kids just aren't getting enough of.
Learning, for me, it's easier if it's hands-on, because having a teacher just talk and talk and talk really won't get me to learn anything than getting actually physically doing something that the teacher asks us to do, like for example playing a guitar. I actually want to play guitar so I can learn how to play the guitar, and that's just how I really learn, to actually try and physically do it.
Well, there's a shift occurring in our after school and in our summer programs towards incorporating more hands-on learning, discovery, looking at the new STEM, science, technology, math, engineering opportunities, so we can incorporate after school some of these principles of engagement, of excitement, so that we can have students learning in teams, collaborating, doing experiments together. And again, because it's hands-on, it's something you're going to remember longer and have more fun doing.
If you talk to business people, they'll often talk about one of the first things that they're looking for in their employees is learning to work together, because businesses have learned that a product that's part of a group effort is often a richer product, a better product than that reflecting what one person can do alone. We want young people to be able to learn to work together. Their learning is better. Ultimately, the product is better, and they're going to be able to be more productive, successful, contributing citizens.
Another way I could learn is group work, and that's collaborating with other students. Having their ideas brought in to our project, because I don't know if my idea is like the greatest, maybe my partner has a better idea, and that could come to a project and create something better.
Collaboration is one of the very useful opportunities that we have to engage students' interest, memory, and participation. Because one of the things that raises dopamine is positive interaction with peers, so that's certainly a reason to use collaborative learning. The other is that mistake fear is a significant problem, especially after about age 8. Making a mistake in front of others really restricts participation. And participation is critical to developing memory and conceptual understanding. So there's a positive interaction with the dopamine and the increased willingness to participate and opportunity to participate.
Well, at the Youth Institute, starting from day one, we're put into groups. We all come from different social and financial backgrounds. We all have to put all of that aside and, just come together and collaborate. I might not know a program, someone else might know that program that I'm lacking in, and we all put our skills together and work towards a common goal.
Like when you're in a class you're focused, you're into it, you're into the conversations that are going on in the class, and you're actually going to retain that knowledge.
Learning needs to be meaningful. It needs to be embedded in activities that are important for young people. What really comes to mind is the work of Reed Larson, who did some really important work looking at the development of initiative and engagement. What he found is that when children are in school, what they often are doing is putting forth a lot of effort, but they're not really motivated. It's not something that they care about. What happens in after-school activities, when they're really working, when they're active, they're choosing those activities and they are also focused on them. It's the best combination for learning.
We know from research that it's really important that summer programs, in order to mitigate what we call summer learning loss, which can have a devastating effect on kids through their whole educational experience and really set them back, they have to come consistently, and they have to come for more than a week, they have to come for more than a few days, they have to come consistently throughout the summer. In order to do that, the programs really have to offer engaging opportunities for kids to participate in, that they really can find a place for themselves and something they want to continue to do over time.
I don't get that freedom elsewhere to pick and choose, what's relevant to me, what's relevant out there, what's new in technology, what's new in art. And here is where I get that freedom, so that's what really keeps me coming back.
Too much of what we're doing in school reform efforts focuses on issues like teacher effectiveness as measured by student test scores, or focuses on how to raise test scores based on how to change the curriculum. Not enough of it focuses on motivation and engagement on the part of students. And I think that's the missing ingredient in reform. It's part of the reason why so much of the reforms that we've implemented over the last several years don't work. And if you don't find a way to make learning matter to students, then much of what the adults are trying to do will fail.
I'd probably say like 90% of what ARC does is based on what the students want. Laura is constantly telling us, give me ideas what you guys want to do, because it's not my responsibility, it's not my job to put together things that the students don't want to be involved in. And if you want to do something, if you're excited about doing it, you're going to pay more attention in class, and you just have to be interested in something if you want to learn.
Meaning is extremely important, and the reason that exists, either for after school, summer, or other learning, is the mind is involved. And one of the things we know about the mind, it is full of memories, and memories are meaning. And human beings are meaning makers. And so every time somebody engages in something, if they're going to remember it and be aware of it, it has to have a whole lot of meaning for them.
Growing up in the program, starting from 6th grade to high school senior now, I see how much I've grown artistically, personally, and professionally. Moving forward, I have a better idea of where I want to continue building these skills.
Mastery can be defined in many ways and has different definitions, but in this case it means children learning they can be really good at something, and being exposed to the type of learning environment where they are experiencing sequenced instruction or sequenced activities. So why is that important? Once a child learns that they can be good at something, then they've learned that they can be good at other things. It builds their self-confidence.
Now, this striving towards mastery, it's not an activity that you can do in one day, in a half a day. It's really an activity where you're building over time. When you're building for a concert, you're practicing, you're developing those skills. When you are getting out, putting out newspaper, when you're putting out planning for a play, really complex activity that gives young people a chance to put those skills together. Notice many of them are also working with others in a group, often with a culminating event.
Okay, well, when you practice something long enough, you master it. I wouldn't really say you master it, but you get really, really good at it. I love to help because, I remember when I was just starting, and then having those people to help me there, it helped me keep on going, and I didn't want to just give up right away.
So these principles, I think, are really important, not just for thinking about the structure or the moment after school, but just in general for how communities think about engaging young people and working together to really both invite young people into the world of work and learning, and also helping young people explore what they're passionate about. Having real activities that you're working on, doing it with other people so that you're getting a chance to build some social construction of meaning and bouncing stuff off, and then developing mastery. I mean, it feels good when you get good at something, and I think that that's really important.
When we give young people opportunities to get out of their neighborhoods, we give them opportunities to get out of their norm, then what we're doing is we're giving them avenues to grow in ways they never possibly thought they could. And too many of our young people are very limited in opportunities to expand their horizons, whether it's travel, whether it's learning a new skill, whether it's learning an instrument, whether it's learning technology, whether it's learning about another culture. I think when we expose young people to those type of learning experiences, it changes their life fundamentally.
And part of expanding horizons means giving concrete experiences which allow them to see and learn about how knowledge is applied in the real world, in professional settings, and why in fact that's a course of action and a career path they may want to choose. And most importantly, what does it take to get there? So that kind of work of expanding the sense of what's possible and of tapping into that deeply seated sense of identity is essential to the work of really capturing the imagination of young people.
The trips that we've gone to, it sort of makes me realize, like, wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there that I haven't even heard of. So it's like the world got bigger. I got to see new places, and I got to discover new programs on computers and stuff. So it's kind of like opening up my mind to different possibilities that can be.
We want our young people to be able to know about the world of work. What is it like to be a biologist? What is it like to be a computer programmer? What's it like to be a filmmaker? And nothing like having a chance to be able to work in some of these settings in some real ways. That can happen in some of our high-quality after-school programs.
After-school programs have always been a safe place for kids to go after school and a place where they can finish their homework. But now we envision after-school and summer programs as a way to really expand learning time.
And so when we talk about learning principles, we're taking an open-minded approach to what children need to learn. We're not saying they need to know A, B, and C. We're saying let them explore. Let them find out what they can do on their own.
So these principles, I think, are really important, not just for thinking about the structure to the moment after school, but just in general for how communities think about engaging young people.